And we are ready for Mayberry running Metroid Dread. All right, you guys can go ahead and take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Mayberry. I'm joined by my commentators here, Dunkathan and Hobbit.
Hi, I'm Dunk. Uh, Duncan Salt for long. Some people may know me as one of the people under the project leads header for the credits in Rando. So I know a thing or two about it. I'm not nearly as good at racing it as May here is. So I'm looking forward to the run.
And I'm a fellow runner and mainly playing unrestricted, but playing plenty of rando. Unfortunately, the only guy on this lineup not in the credits, but that's okay.
Yet.
So
Yeah.
far.
I do a bunch of rando for this game, and I speedrun and stuff. So, but do you want to just hop in?
Let's do it.
I think we might as well. We're pointing out we don't have rookie mode or dread mode available. This is 1.0. Rando works on 1.0 and latest patch 2.1.
Yeah, ultimately just preference which one you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go ahead and give us a countdown then. 3, 2, 1, go.
First thing that we should mention then is as we're loading in, we're not going to be starting in the vanilla starting room. That's because that room really likes crashing, and we'll go over more of the details of when that tends to happen, but it's just a better experience and more stable to start in the Atom room right next door to it. It doesn't change the logic at all. It just means we're a couple of rooms over when we start the game, and it's more stable.
Yeah, and
Speaking
in
of
general,
Atom,
if May can route around it, they will.
what does Adam do for us? Who is Adam?
Adam's this big orb in the background here who will activate, and he tells us hopefully useful things. He tells us things.
That's
Oh.
useful.
Okay.
Whoa.
This first hint is typically not that important because you're bound to find what he's talking about.
Mhm.
However, seeing that it's wave beam is quite useful because it means we're actually going to be able to make decisions based on the fact that we can assume we're going to have wave right away.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of interesting. Ooh, okay. So if you're used to the typical dread run, you're gonna see a lot of the quick rises and stuff like that, and a lot of typical vanilla routing. But you're gonna see May taking peeks like they just did there, so they can take notes on where certain items are, and that is a great first item.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Loaded Artaria.
Oh.
So just off the bat, that's Wave Beam, Speed Booster, and Guaranteed Suit in Artaria, which is incredible.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here, this is a Proto Emmy. There's going to be a few of these Emmys throughout the game, and we're going to have to kill some of them.
Yeah.
Hobbit, do you mind explaining how Emmy kills work?
Sure. So every Emmy has a central unit. In this case, for the tutorial, you don't actually have to fight it. It's just kind of already dead. But it gives you a special upgrade called the Omega Cannon, which lasts until you blast the Emmy just like that. Proto Emmy does not have a face shield. However, all the other ones will. Each Emmy kind of has a special attribute linked to the power it has. Proto Emmy, like I said, is just kind of showing you how to do it, and you blast off the face shield, then blast its face, and it dies. Fortunately, with this seed, actually, we're going to be seeing a little trick here to hit this blob.
This is brand
newer methodology called a seam pseudo, where you essentially shoot a missile between hard and soft collision, and by doing that, it allows you to access blobs that you normally cannot with the upgrades that you have.
A pseudo, by the way, is short for a pseudo wave beam shot.
I was going to do the old method.
And it's just any way to shoot through walls like this, basically.
Yeah.
The first shot that they hit was with that seam pseudo, which is what, a week-old tech?
Essentially, yeah. It just got found and formally explored. You basically, during the initial frames of free aim, you can poke your cannon through and shoot through the wall. Whereas with the slide pseudo, whenever you bump your head on the wall, Samus will kind of stick her cannon up into the wall. which allows you to shoot beams or missiles.
Nice finding a missile plus that quick.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You don't need too many missiles to finish the game, but the more you can get, the more you can kind of do later.
Particularly the missile plus that give you 10 are quite valuable.
Oh yeah, and it is kind of fun in Rando because you can
Thank you,
tune how
Adam.
much each one gives you. Yeah, sometimes he just is a little too obvious.
A little slow on the uptake for that one, Adam, but it's okay. We love you anyway.
His spirit's in the right place, you know? And what is kind of nice, since we have Speed Booster early, that means May will kind of get to, you know, showcase a little bit of what Dread's Speed Booster can do with being able to keep it through wall jumps. Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Big grapple real quick.
Yeah, because you can just reset out. This is a good showcase of an important strategy in Dread Rando. Loading to last checkpoint and loading to last save. There's a lot of soft blocks. Dread Rando is filled to the brim with what we call dangerous actions. And so you get very good at knowing when you're setting up checkpoints and how to make the best use of them.
And like by like looking at the items you have and knowing kind of what's normally required, you can kind of get an idea of which dangerous actions are worthwhile, because a lot of items require that item to get out, essentially, is like the common rule. There are some exceptions, but you definitely want to keep the world as open as possible.
This is kind of unfortunate that I can't go back to the right side because it's going to be locked by Morph Ball. I would like to get over to the east side of Hatteras so I can open up the thermal switches. But I'll just
Nothing can be done about that.
Here.
Chat asks, do they only soft lock by going out of logic with glitches? No. This happens trickless. It is just a fact of life in Dread Rando. There are so many possibilities to get stuck that it would be impossible to patch them all out. Most of the time, you can just quickly reload checkpoint to get out. For instances where you could potentially break your save by like saving in a soft lock, we have the ability to warp to the starting room from any save station. So that handles the majority of truly like seed breaking soft locks. But just getting stuck and needing to reset out happens all the time.
Alright, I gotta do that normally. I don't know why I'm messing that up right now.
It's okay.
It always feels bad to need to let the water out.
Nice slide under though.
So does anyone want to explain what I was trying to do there?
So, if you melee like Mayberry was... Oh, okay, so we found where Wave Beam is. Unfortunately, we need either to...
It'll be magnet right here. Damn.
Well, I believe
I'll
you
just
can get it
purchase
with Speed Booster. However, that means we will have to go in the dangerous room, I would assume.
I'll just get it on the way back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like I said, with that wall jump that May was attempting, you can essentially like respin earlier if you either free aim or melee against the slanted.
Thank you. That happens. Sometimes you just walk through power-ups. That's not the game's fault. That's a rando bug that we've never been able to figure out.
It is very funny though.
Unfortunate, because having an extra PB tank would have been nice, but not nice enough to lose your speed for there.
And then something you'll notice that's a little atypical, kind of something that Dunk could probably explain in more detail, is you'll notice that Wave Beam doesn't quite look normal.
Yeah, normally in Metroid Dread, the beams are just hard-coded to stack. You know, so both Plasma Beam and Wave Beam have the wide beam shots. Wave Beam can always open Plasma Beam doors, etc. We've managed to find ways to eliminate that and properly split the beam behaviors. So we have just Wave Beam right now.
Ooh, okay.
Not something you'll ever see. This is such a beautiful speed key.
That's the commentator's
You
curse
cursed
if I've
me,
ever
Dunk.
seen it.
Yeah, that's my bad.
But yeah, so you kind of have like a pea shooter version of Wave Beam, which in a very literal sense is just the width of the beam set to 0 and then the damage divided by 3.
Yeah, we...
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
yes.
love that. That's a good one.
So when Samus goes out of bounds in this game, she dies. Asterisk.
Mostly.
That was going out of bounds. Now, the astute viewer may notice that we went through that door earlier and just went through it again. What's up with that? The collision just doesn't exist the first time you go through it, so you don't die because you aren't inside collision yet. As soon as the room's loaded, your next time through, you'll have to go into collision that exists, so it kills you. But you just get that checkpoint and go right back in.
Yeah, luckily because of the way that Emmy zones work, it's not super inconvenient.
Whoa!
Oh, wow, wow.
Both
This is
suits?
crazy Arparia. What the heck?
All right.
Like, absolutely wild.
Not what I expected. There's gonna be something
Yeah.
down there, maybe? No.
No, just a missile. Seeing that item, you have to actually
Oh, there we go.
aim down to see it,
Mhm.
which is a
Oops.
cute little way to get the peek. Lots of like aiming and free aim to get eyes on just various items before you can actually collect them.
I'm absolutely astounded by the number of majors we've run into. Like, I know
I'm
Artaria tends to have a lot, but this is...
I'm worried about what the rest of the scene is gonna look like.
I can't wait for us to get to the DNA hints. That's all I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
A little bit
More
of
on that.
foreshadowing for later.
More on that later. Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, that varies convenient.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, heat rooms in vanilla are very, very aggressive. The ticks go up exponentially, including during like cutscenes or animations where you're loading in from like elevators or teleportals. So like without it, you just kind of get deleted.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the vanilla behavior where if you take an elevator into a heated room, you are guaranteed to die instantly when you gain control of Samus.
Mm-hmm.
And then because it sets a checkpoint, you're just locked there for eternity.
Mm-hmm. And you saw a nice little trick there. If you do a speed booster in a direction and then you turn around and do speed booster the other direction, you can save like one or half a tile of running distance, and that allows you to store in some places that you normally cannot, such as inside of a central unit room to one-shot the brain. And then here is actually what many speedrunners would consider probably the hardest Emmy fight in the speedrun. Mostly because the fastest version is like extremely tight, but if you want to take a slightly slower version, you can do that jump over like May did and just kind of clean it up.
That was still really clean.
Absolutely.
It's a bit of a
Like,
backup.
I do this the coward's way, and I go all the way to the top right.
Yeah, there's
Loses
another version
like
where
at
you,
least
go across
15
the bottom.
seconds.
Mm-hmm. There's another like slightly easier version where you go all the way across the bottom, you kill it on this platform that's below this ledge. That's not too bad, but it's slower than just doing the jump over. And we're gonna see here, very clean, May making use of a single wall jump. Those who have played Samus Returns or Dread probably know that Samus can't single wall jump like you can in like Zero Mission or Super. So you have to kind of finagle it a little bit. If you do a wall jump and morph with the stick in neutral, you'll do that kind of like 60-degree wall jump up, which allows you to unmorph and wall jump again, and then you can use that to infinitely gain height.
Yeah. Worth noting that while that single wall jump wasn't in logic, it didn't need to be. They could have used Speed Booster to get out of there perfectly fine within the logic. I suppose we should mention the settings we're using here. The standard race settings, they have a handful of tricks set to beginner, including like movement, knowledge, that just cover some of the basics that most people racing will know.
Yeah, like the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
And now we already have the gravity suit, you know, a solid like 12 minutes in, which is...
It's honestly a little mind-boggling.
I'm at a loss.
It's making it tough to tell where the seed might want us to go.
Yeah, May has a lot of options where they can go right about now. I feel like there's probably a couple places that are better, to go,
I mean,
but
we say that we really have the option to go to Catarus, but after we get there, it's complicated.
yeah, it's pretty open, especially because having Wave Beam this early allows you to get a lot of things that you really weren't supposed to.
Yeah, geez, like you can sneak right into the diffusion area, no problem. You can do a whole bunch.
Yeah, because that diffusion area by grade is pretty much a locked box until you get diffusion or wave or power bombs with an asterisk. Power bombs do work on blobs, but it's very finicky at best.
Yeah,
So it's better to have one of the other two options.
you prefer not to power bomb them.
There are a few checks I left behind in Artaria, but they were fairly out of the way, up in the top left. And there's a teleporter I can take back later if I need to. That leads directly to that section from Catarus.
You know, I'm wondering if they might want you to go through purple teleportal.
Would be worth it. However, I think it is worthwhile to go through Catarus in the intended entrance because it's kind of like a locked box. There's a lot of thermal doors that block your progress that you can't really avoid without use of major glitches.
Yeah.
And even that's a lot of effort that's probably not worth it. So
I always
also,
advocate
we are playing
for opening
NMG,
the front
so
door.
yeah. Front door definitely ideal, especially for this first thermal switch, which opens up the big room.
Yeah, the main issue is this thermal at the start. If you don't open it, your options for getting back to this section of Catarus are really limited. I would be able to do it because of the items I have, but
it's just so much more annoying.
Yeah, you have to take a sort of like side route that you normally don't go through. It just makes it very difficult to like route it quickly.
And that hint about a bomb in Catarus is really useful. That definitely means it's not worth going anywhere until we found the bomb.
Yeah, and bombs are a super critical item in Dread. Both helpful for movement with infinite bomb jumping, which they actually showed in pre-release.
That's always funny to think about.
Like a bounty hunter's note on it.
Yeah, they showed it off in the bomb room, right?
Yep, exactly.
Ooh.
And then you can do a diagonal spark there, and it kind of rides the ceiling, which is pretty nice.
That spark looks so cool.
You may also notice that whenever Mei sparks, they're avoiding that kind of like ramp up animation. If you
there's normally a ramp up animation, but if you're pressing it during another animation, you can skip it. For example, like spin jumping is the easiest way to do it.
It's a relief to see that that's not anything important.
Yeah, that's one of my least favorite items. It's just, especially with no door randomizer, it's just very unfortunate if you have something.
Yeah. Despite Catarus being the second area in the game and a pretty central location, it has some of the most out-of-the-way checks in the entire randomizer.
Yeah, it's got like weird late-game item checks that are just kind of there.
Yeah, I always think of that one, the screw attack blocks above Experiment, and the
power bomb.
The power bomb one, yeah. You need one.
Yeah, it's a pretty annoying area for that reason.
Yeah, and it's also got a teleportal locked behind either gravity suit or power bomb, so it's just like, man, they really don't want you to have any fun in here.
The most useless teleportal, also.
Yeah, it's used in like for some things, but it's really not that important. Mei could activate this lava button here, but without Spider, it doesn't really make sense. Plus, they have speed booster, so it's like,
there's
do we really
no
need this?
point.
It doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Besides, spend the time for a cutscene.
Yeah, and it's like a 20-second cutscene, so it's not nothing.
What?
Huh?
That?
Is it like that was weird.
I've never seen that before.
Was that? I'm not sure whether that was like a neutral stick or maybe just it's not gravity ball. If you have gravity ball, you don't go anywhere. Ooh,
yeah,
nice
no, it was just like not working properly.
I love that it peeks past the red overlay.
Yeah, this room normally you turn off the heat with another one of the lava switches, but
Yep, and even though we don't have wide beam in any way, because of the way that a wave beam is, you can still open the wide beam blocks, which the speedrunning community has given a name, but for all intents and purposes, I'll just refer to them as wide beam blocks.
Yeah.
The wide beam normally gives you like shoot like 3 beams spread out, and you can hit all the switches at once. But with wave, it can just kind of pierce through, and you can
Yeah.
hit
So if
them
you
all
do
in
it
a
from
single
above or
shot.
below.
Ooh, nice peek. I like that.
Ooh, there's bombs.
Nice.
I feel like that spot has a major often in my experience. It's very nice.
It really does.
It's one of the more accessible spots. Doesn't require many items to get there.
Yeah, especially because most of the time you get morph pretty early because it's so essential for getting around all over the place. Whether it's for wall jumps or just getting through tunnels, especially because sliding into longer tunnels without morph creates some very
Interesting.
interesting behavior.
Poke and Berenia.
There's not many cloak doors in this game, so that makes me think it might be. Brenia has 2 cloak doors that could potentially be relevant.
Of course, the most likely is DNA on Corp, but
given the fact I have gravity as well,
yeah, it could definitely be the Gravity Tower cloak doors. The reason we're speculating is that when you see a hint in this game, it almost always means that that item is important in your seed.
Like it's just trying to give you a little guiding force. Shoutouts to Exception for labbing that movement right there, where you break some of the blocks and then dash melee over.
oh,
Ooh, nice.
Whoa.
That was a good slide more through the rock monster. Now this is gonna look kind of funny, but yeah, if you go
Just
through
walk
backwards,
into
then
that.
you just
yeah,
It's fine.
that thing's only on one side, and if you like do a dash melee, you'll like plank off of it.
That's
You
actually
avoid getting hit.
that is why Rando specifically doesn't support playing on Dread mode. You can do it, but sometimes seeds will be impossible because it'll expect you to do something like that.
That's great.
This is normally a boss.
Yeah, with bombs it's not really, but you saw May making use of a charge missile toward to a Charlie for colloquial use. You can do, if you do a turnaround or a spin jump, then your charge beam will charge faster, kind of like instantly, called an instant charge. And if you follow that up with a missile, it's kind of like an optimal DPS option for Kraid.
Surprisingly empty.
Yeah, I know, right? Even with wave, I thought for sure something was going to be in there just for the fact that...
I think the
Yeah.
wave might be signposting purple.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
I
coming
think
to
that
take
makes
it.
the most sense.
Especially having bombs now, too.
That's true. Bombs get open up a lot in Dyron.
Like, we have bombs, speed, wave, gravity. We can do so much down in Dyron.
Yeah, Dyron's like the area where you're intended to get bombs and speed booster, and so there's a lot blocked off by it. Especially with speed booster, the entire area just opens up immediately. Normally you would need something like a wide beam to traverse to the like back half of it, but we can just kind of go backwards through the whole area, and it's extremely fast. So early speed's really nice.
It's also the coolest item in the game, so, you know.
Second coolest, behind Pulse Radar.
Oh, true. How could I forget Pulse Radar? How would I find all the hidden blocks?
Let's show the
without
people
it?
Pulse Radar.
Let's go!
I didn't know those blocks were there.
Those blocks!
How are they gonna find their way out without that? With the power off, the door doesn't work.
You're so right. So, default settings for Dread Rando, you start with Pulse Radar, just in case you get stuck. It comes in handy more often than you might think.
Just one of those vanilla items that's like meant for your first playthrough to help you find the different blocks and stuff. You know, like rando experts, we eventually learn where they all are, but there's no reason not to have it on the starter settings. Get that
Don't
little help
die.
again. Yeah.
Nice.
Spin boost.
This is our double jump. It's really nice.
Yeah, this is the, I think the first game to have like a intermediary between no jump upgrade and space jump. It's very nice. It doesn't quite have all of the same properties as space jump does, but it's very, very useful for getting around, especially in like an area like this where there's a lot of high platforms.
Mhm.
I am shocked that that is not a major item with all the items that they have. I thought for sure that was going
There'll be something here.
And because May does have speed booster, ooh, very nice extension.
Oops.
A little too far there.
Didn't mean to do that. Okay.
Oh,
That's fine. Just hit the parry.
no.
Close.
All the Metroid fans.
So
fans
that's
out there
what
in
happens if you
shambles.
got caught by these enemies. They kind of roam around in these designated areas. We haven't seen too much of them before now, but if they catch you, you have to hit one of those parries or they insta kill you. You need very good reaction time.
Yeah, I think the second one isn't reactive.
Yeah, the second one you just have to guess. It's not totally random. There's sort of a pattern to it, so you can guess it, but it's not easy. And the window is extremely tight. It's only a few frames.
And that speed Emmy specifically is quite notorious because of how fast it is. Like I mentioned before, it has speed booster essentially. So
Oh, that's base.
Whoa! Okay.
oh, very nice. Okay, so we're getting like every movement upgrade we could possibly need so far.
Yeah, just no flash really.
So interesting quirks about the space jump. When you are wall jumping, you go higher, like at a higher angle. So you kind of have to account for that when you're speed jumping.
The grounded jump's the same height, but every other type of jump is higher. It's a little weird to adjust to, but it saves so much time over the course of the run too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can kind of see here, like, the room design by Mercury Steam kind of, like, really implies that you're supposed to be using Speed Booster, which I think is really cool. There's a lot of rooms that are kind of shaped like this, where you see big walls and, like, hallways you can jump through.
You get to see, you can wall jump and keep the Speed Booster going. You can spark off of slopes and start running again. It's got it all.
Yeah,
Worth
and,
noting, Make could have gone further left and taken an elevator to Gathering and check basically 2 or 3 items over there. I assume electing not to because loading times are very slow.
Yeah, that's another thing about this game. You really have to route around your loading times because they just take so long to load transitions between areas.
Of course, the generator doesn't care, so it's quite the balance to get it right.
especially in, like, random start type seeds, which is, fortunately not what we're running today. You can have situations where, like, the randomizer's like, oh, okay, you got this item, go into the tram immediately, and then go straight back because you got the item you needed, and then go straight back again because you got the item you needed.
Yeah.
So you kind of get
Are
to
you going
see
for
that a
yellow?
little.
Yeah, I'm gonna go kill them. Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Means we get to show off the backdoor yellow enemy, which is one of my favorite tricks in Rando.
Probably like up there for one of the most important tricks as well.
Definitely one of the first tricks that any new like Rando racer should learn. We'll show it off here, and it looks harder than it is. Ooh,
okay.
Nice.
I get that on the way out.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, if you're able to speed through, just like ball spark through that speed boost block, you can get right in from behind to fight Yellow Emmy.
Yeah, and because you have to have speed booster to get through here, that means you can take the easy spark on the shield of the central unit, so you can go straight into using missiles or beams or whatever items you have.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have too much damage upgrades, so I just have to keep spamming them with missiles. Apologies.
The wide will change that, but
Yeah, once I get wide, the best method of damage will change.
yeah. Wave Beam, despite being the last beam upgrade normally, is also the weakest. It increases your damage by the least. Wide Beam triples your damage, Plasma Beam doubles it. Wave, I think, is like 1.3 times.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
And also, you know, for any of us that got stuck on the yellow Emmy, that's all the fight is in the speed run. You just
Yeah, it's actually the easiest one.
Oh, that's a DNA.
nice.
Okay, Metroid DNA 1. Anyone who isn't familiar with Dread is probably well, anyone who's familiar with Dread and not Dread Rando is probably very confused by this. So the thing about this game's randomizer is that the vanilla objective of just getting the items you need to go fight Ravenbeak turned out to not be particularly interesting for the randomizer's purposes. And so we implemented this new system that we call DNA, in which basically 3 MacGuffins. Let's go, Cool Shine Spark.
Spark.
That's officially called a Cool Shine Spark internally, by the way. Anyway, these 3 MacGuffins are placed on the major bosses and the Emmys.
Nice. Nice. First try.
That looks so good.
And
And
this
here we're going to
specific
get to
Atom
find
Station.
out. Yeah. This Atom Station will always tell you where the DNA are. It's generally a pretty mid-game position. Oh,
So,
wow. That's pretty nice.
Really good.
So that just
That was-
implies required ice, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that
that was
was Speed Emmy,
Yellow Emmy.
Ice Emmy, and Drogigo, which have very few requirements. The only special requirement here is Ice Missiles.
Ice missiles and I guess fighting QR robot if you count that as a special requirement, or getting to the other side of the elevator.
I don't
Oh yeah,
count that
I should be
as
go fight.
special
I should probably
requirement.
go fight that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can go do that, yeah. Fighting Quiet Robot is like only a speed, maybe grapple requirement, so it's hardly.
It'll be out of logic, but just
Mm.
fine grapple.
Yeah, some seeds you can get really bad distributions of DNA. This one's a pretty generous one.
Yeah, the
Um,
worst case would be if you had to release the X parasites.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
There's
the
some
worst.
when you go to Elan in this game, which is an area, you release the X parasites. They kind of like take over the planet and possess everything. And there are some bosses that only spawn with the X parasites. So if DNA was on one of those, it would add a lot more requirements to what is needed to beat the seed, and just
Yeah.
generally more time.
I think the worst possible loadout is like Corpius, Experiment, and Wave Emmy.
Yeah, those require the most items
The most like hyper specific things.
for sure.
So yeah, we need these to beat the game. That's what it comes down to. We're gonna need all 3. We've found 1 so far, and we got lucky.
Yeah.
If anybody wants more detailed reasoning on why exactly we settled on this as the new objective, you can read an article on my website, duncan.com. I'm not joking. That explains it in great detail.
And here I'm just trying to
fun.
damage boost.
Mhm.
It's gonna work. No.
Ooh, almost.
Sorry.
So what you saw May do there, switching to the global map and then going to another area,
Oh my.
when you do that and you unpause, the game actually skips like 3 frames worth of delta time for some reason.
Yeah, essentially, like the game lags, and because it's using a system called Delta Time, it has to like fast forward the physics to catch up. And this has a lot of weird effects. You're essentially like, oh,
Nice.
unfortunate. I'll just leave that. Yeah, when you lag the game like that, it has a lot of weird effects. Notably, you can essentially shave 6 frames off the time to charge a speed booster, which is what I was trying to do there. It lets you get it in places where you shouldn't be able to, and it's very useful.
However,
It can
it
also be
does.
used for just
Oh,
other things like clipping through walls, but that's not allowed in this rule set.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We've-
explicitly like requires you to have at least 2 areas. That's the.
I want
main-
to point out we've discussed 2 ways of charging Speed Booster in a shorter area or a shorter period of time. Neither of them are a short charge. That's a different thing.
Mhm.
There's
It's like
just a lot
different
of.
gears
There's
of
a lot of ways to do it.
speed shortening.
I doubt we're going to see any short charges in this seed.
Yeah, Rando also does have unique items that upgrade certain items, such as Flash Shift or Speed Booster.
Yeah, we don't have any of
however,
those in
those
this
are resettings.
setting, but you can make your Speed Booster charge in a shorter amount of time. You can have more Flash Shift flashes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Very
also
fun
worth
to play
talking
with.
about why I went up there and just fought that. That's not helpful.
Thank you, Adam.
Why I went up there and fought that robot. That I skipped the cutscene, but basically what happened is we meet a friendly Chozo that opens a gate in Barenia for us, which I'll be going through after this. And it's generally required to progress. It depends on what items you have, but I'm going to need it to get me farther, so I went ahead and opened it.
And even if they didn't strictly need it, it's by far the most convenient way to get to Drigiga, which is where one of our DNA is.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Storm missiles.
Oh no.
This is such an awkward... There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, just hitting that missile block is so difficult. You have to have very specific timing if you want to do it like that. You're meant to hang on the top with a spider magnet on like the blue ceiling, but I don't have that, so I have to do shenanigans.
I feel like it's not uncommon in any average rando seed to just have spider be almost irrelevant. There's only a handful of things locked behind it.
Some of them are pretty important.
Some of them are quite important, however,
No,
they don't always come up.
Yeah. The most important one for like a casual player in Rando will always be you need it to release the X in Elon, but we have ways around it.
This game's full of shenanigans. That's the message we're trying to get across.
Yeah. We're probably not going to get to show that one off in this scene, being that none of the DNA needs the X, but we kind of just use a funny little frame-perfect teleport to get out instead of needing Spider Magnet.
Oh my god!
Oh. Get owned!
Steve sends his regards.
Really,
those
the optimal
projectiles-
play would have been to crouch there.
I tried. I promise you I tried.
I believe you.
Those projectiles will kind of follow you through rooms if you transition at the same time as them. And
It's always
it's the
funny.
worst. I've never seen it be that low before.
That was good. That was really good.
Normally it goes over your head, but there it just knocked me off the platform. So I must say there's two ways into Barenia from Dairon. There's a top tram and a lower tram, and it's usually faster to take the lower tram if you can manage, because you can open a shortcut up back up to where the top tram is and then just kind of continue as normal. Oh, there's
Oh,
a
hey.
aggressive bomb. That's going to give us the second in the chain cross bomb.
That'll be nice for like Ravenbeak.
Strictly a DPS item for the most part.
With
Logically-
the loadout we have.
Yeah, the cross bombs are usually used to get across some gaps. They'll kind of push you forward, but there's Phantom
There's
Cloak.
the cloak.
But for me, there are ways to... I don't know why it dropped. There are ways to skip where you're supposed to use it, so they're mainly just used for some specific damage setups. Yeah, setup.
If you're playing on higher trick levels, a lot of people will play without progressive bombs. That was a progressive bomb, so you get bombs and then cross bombs. But in higher trick levels, you'll often split them because there are a lot of things bombs can do that cross bombs can't, and that cross bombs do easier than regular bombs. That's usually related to various types of infinite bomb jumps. But in these settings, and having space jump and all that already, cross bombs are not particularly useful for us here.
Yeah. And at this point, May has so many items, like, it can be kind of hard to tell, like, where they might need to go. Because there are a couple items that are explicitly required to beat the game.
Yeah.
However,
We still need main power bombs, screw attack, and ice missiles. At the very
Because of the hat, we know we need ice. Everything else I can get though. Or well, I can get the other DNA.
And interestingly enough, Rando also splits the missile upgrade. So Ice just gives you the freezing effect, and then Supers gives you the damage upgrade.
Ice is also a bit of a damage upgrade, but not as much as Supers.
Yeah, it's very minimal. Oh, hey.
Oh, very nice.
Speaking of main
They're power
PBs,
bombs.
I promise we don't know this scene. Alright, so now it's pretty much just Ice and Screw, and then May's Go mode.
Yeah,
yeah, as far as we know.
we're talking about the Cyan teleportal, which I passed by earlier. I'm going to be passing by it again in this next room, but without power bombs, you can only get one item, and it is possible that it would have expected me to go through Cyan, just get that one item, and then come back, but luckily I found main power bombs, so I can
The worst is when
explore.
that one item is main power bombs.
Yeah. I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to check the rest of Vernia, but then we'll head up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the right call to go and get Drog.
Still don't
Well,
have,
unfortunately, I
grapple.
don't think we can quite get there without grapple.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I totally
Gosh.
forgot we didn't have grapple.
I always forget that requirement. Because you always have grapple by now.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
grapple's a
so
pretty
used to
common
getting
early
grapple, but it's holding out on it right now.
Yeah. Oh, so that's so funny. We were talking about how Drigig doesn't have any extra special requirements, but it does need grapple. And it just didn't occur to any of us that that was a special requirement.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could... I guess it requires, like, grapple or plasma,
No, it
sort
hard
of.
requires grapple.
I guess if you went in through the top, like through
It
Gavran...
requires grapple because there's a grapple block directly before it.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry,
no, it hard
I forgot we're
requires
playing NMG only.
it.
That's too many shenanigans, Hobbit. Come on.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that.
The only
every time
legal
I try to
way-
suggest- I suggest a trick, and they're like, sorry, it doesn't work.
Sorry,
can't
that's
put it in there.
illegal.
Yeah, I'm like, ah, darn, not again.
But now we're in Fernia. This is the area I went to earlier to fight the bot, but normally...
Now we're in the
like,
main area.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, okay.
super missiles.
and that's diffusion over there, lol.
All
Oh
right.
yeah,
Diffusion is a useless item for us at this point.
Yeah, it just kind of like gives your Oh, here's a difficult boss fight, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
they're here, and there. That's it. Very hard.
Goodbye.
Oh, and there's grapple.
Oh,
Wow.
oh my
Beautiful.
gosh.
Ice and screw.
This seed really wants you to just be done as quickly as possible.
It
Yeah, no
might
kidding.
be a hunt through the end game. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's just screw and ice, I guess. All right, Adam.
There's a fair few hints left, so.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what he's got to say.
Uploading data.
That is
Beautiful.
Ooh, okay.
You love to see that hint.
a very nice seat. I'm a little bit scared.
Yeah, I'm suddenly really worried about ice missiles.
It's just like, hey, what's wrong with this seed? You want to tell me?
Guess it depends on when those ice missiles come in.
Mm-hmm.
God, Screw and Golzuna.
Don't speak
Yeah,
that evil.
It is possible that Gavrin does have one of those bosses that are spawned by the X, so it might be possible that we need to go release those. But it is something I can do now, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. You're not supposed to be able to, but you can.
Yeah, and there's a part of me that's like, it would be really cool if we got to show it, because it's
would, but-
really visually funny.
But we really don't want to have to.
It is definitely ideal to not need it.
I'm not even gonna
Like,
grab that diffusion.
explicitly ideal.
Yeah, I don't think diffusion does literally anything, right?
It would help me open a couple blobs faster, but I don't think it's going to
Okay.
save the time it would take to go into that room.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are randomized doors, like I mentioned earlier, and that actually does add a couple unique doors, such as a diffusion door.
Yeah, if this were Doorlock Rando, it'd be different. Doorlock Rando, my beloved. One day,
Love that a
I'll
lot.
see that shown off on the big stage.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. It really is. Like, if anyone ever wants to try this random, head to the RDV server and they can help you.
Yep, Randomania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, randomania.org, and you can find all the links and info from there.
Forgot I had supers. Then
Our
more just came out
website-
of my cannon.
Our website doesn't even look like it's a hack anymore. It's great.
Nice.
This is a very long trek through this section of Frenia, and it's all just to get a couple checks bunched up in one spot. All
Yeah.
locked behind storm missiles, but luckily we got those.
Yeah, and despite being an X boss, SQ doesn't actually require the X to be released, oddly enough.
Mm-hmm. Also, if we want to be pedantic, these 3 checks aren't locked behind storms. They're locked in front of storms,
Yeah.
which is a slightly funny distinction since it means that any of them could be storm missiles, but you can't get out if they aren't.
And something interesting is this is the boss that normally gives you storms, but for some reason storms are like really strong against it. I don't know why the developers made it that way. But...
The best weapon against this boss is Screw Attack, and the next best weapon is the item it gives you.
Yeah.
But it didn't have anything for us, so that's... Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a neat thing. It's nice, but not what we were looking for.
Where to from here?
Great question.
On my mind is Hanubia, and then go to Gathering from there.
I don't think they can get to Hanubia. They don't have Screw.
Yeah, I don't have screw.
Oh, you're right. I was thinking.
So...
I mean, you could get to Hanubia, you just couldn't do anything after that point, I don't think.
What can I do?
Well, I mean, you can go to Gathering, just not from here.
Well, I can't from Berenia either. The play might be to work to start and get check some of those early areas again.
I was thinking Orange.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to the start.
We can't. Oh, we can fight Drog now. You're right. Yeah.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
right, that's right. I got grapple.
So
Oh
that's
my god.
whatever.
It's kind of
It's
funny.
alright.
Like
This
the
isn't
game
so
just
bad.
laid the items out for you, so it's like, oh yeah, I can do that now.
My bad, everyone.
I mean, this isn't so bad of.
It's not the worst. I can get back
There's-
quickly, and there's a lot of checks still left.
You've got
Area.
yeah. You've got stuff abandoned, and the path that takes you to Drog from here passes a lot of it. So
Wait, gotta check the item that I came back for. There's
Oh,
plasma.
that's nice.
That's very useful.
great.
That's a great little DPS upgrade. Plus, can now open all doors.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's not many things left that I can't get to at this point. Only really what's blocked behind screw.
Yeah,
And the few things behind ice.
Yeah.
yeah. Which, I mean, hopefully they can just kind of stumble into it like they've been
Yeah.
doing so far.
Be ideal.
But unfortunately, it does appear everything over here is locked up. So
Oh, I can get to that. No, I can't get to that plasma door. Yeah, I wanted to take a shortcut back to the upper section of Artaria, but I need screw attack for that.
Yeah.
And that's actually where you get screw attack, so that room's filled with screw attack blocks.
Our lives would be a lot easier if there were a Screw Attack on the tracker right now.
it's just it's such a useful item for like exploration, just because it deletes everything. It really does.
Mhm. Yeah, it trivializes most basic enemies. I love this key.
It's really cool.
Oh, and it keeps going. Yes.
Oh, I didn't think
Oh.
I had the space jump mess with me.
Yeah, that's the space jump diff if I've ever seen it.
That's one of the examples of space jump just changing the way you have to move through sections. That normally lines itself up much better, but
This ball spark, by the way, you have to hold left while you're traveling, or else it just doesn't break the blocks correctly. It's silly.
yeah. You have to hold left so it like you start running into the slope again, sort of,
Yeah,
in ball form.
it's silly.
Also, that is the only charge door behind a door shield.
Yeah,
For
I'm
some
convinced.
reason, it's just there.
I'm convinced that it was never supposed to be a super missile door. They just realized towards the end of development that they didn't have enough, so they put it somewhere that didn't matter.
Yeah, the only super doors are like basically in Gaviran, and then that one.
Yep.
Or this,
It's like-
this collapse section here.
Yeah,
Normally this is where you get Mario Soup, but we already have it.
Yeah, normally this is
Still a
a
lot of
little bit
checks,
higher
though.
stakes with the heat rising, but with full suit upgrades, nothing in there can hurt you. You can just stay in there while the heat rises and nothing will happen. There's no timer. But at this point, it's kind of just like peeking and rounding up item or easy checks while on the way to the DNA locations.
This is kind of similar to like I was saying, like cleanup and 100% run. Even
Yeah, kind of.
have almost everything already. Yeah, I do wonder if going to orange would be a good idea or not. Catters doesn't even have that many things, but I guess I'll go to Catters.
You might as well check it because you do know Screw Attack is in Gabarin, there is a chance it is there.
There would be one thing you could do to make it useful.
I think I'm gonna take the gamble on going to Dyron, actually. Just to go straight to Brainiac.
Yeah,
there's just too few checks.
Certainly
Yeah, unless you really wanted to do orange escape.
Yeah, orange skip
there
is...
is a trick to get out, but it's really difficult. You would otherwise need ice missiles to get into the rest of Gabarin from the orange teleportal.
Yeah, because normally power bombs would be able to pop the Inkies that are there. However,
Yeah.
Randomania implemented power bomb limitations to kind of make the logic a little bit more interesting, so you can't just use them to clear charge doors and Inkies out of your way.
Yeah, power bombs used to be very overpowered.
Very good. Very, very good. Very strong.
They opened charge beam doors, they destroyed those Inkies, which normally require ice missiles, and they also opened all the power bomb blocks and bomb blocks, and they insta-kill a bunch of bosses. They were very strong.
Yeah, like virtually guaranteed to find them early in your seed, kind of strong.
Yeah.
They just opened up so much, yeah, it was very likely that it would place them earlier.
And it's kind of like an eye-rolling moment because the logic does not account for how, particular they are with breaking blobs. So like sometimes you just get stuck in a situation where you have to just hope for the best.
Well, the logic just doesn't believe that you can break them with power bombs at all.
Okay. That's good. That's definitely much better than the alternative.
Yeah, it never expects you to, but players expect to.
Yeah, it's, maybe not the best expectation given their track record. But there are ways that have been found to kind of manipulate it a little.
Yeah,
make
you
it
can
a little easier.
break the blobs that we've been shooting a bunch. You can break them with power bombs, but it's so finicky. They work. It's just weird. Like there's
It's
like a
difficult to express how finicky it is.
Yeah, it's like you can sort of control it if you lay it in the right spot. Sometimes if you roll into another room as it's blowing up, it'll make it more likely to work.
Yeah, you would think that the screen clearing item would just clear the screen, but unfortunately, it really doesn't like to sometimes.
It also depends on the blob. It's like some of them are really easy to break with it. They almost work almost every time. And there are other ones that almost never work. If
like
not,
the
just
one below
never.
purple.
Yeah, usually because they've been specifically coded to not be vulnerable to power bombs.
Yeah, they're not supposed to break the power bombs.
So
But
the
they
fact
do
that they
anyways.
can.
Someone did an oopsie.
Yeah, because they explicitly call out some for diffusion only versus like regular beam, where you're like with beam you can do 1 damage to it, and then past that you're done. Wow, I cannot believe that did not hit the door.
If I had diffusion, that would have worked.
Alright, so now it's essentially just going up to visit our dear friend Giga.
Yeah.
Basically just spore spawn wet.
Oh, I got another one. The deboost damage or like knockback cancel. Those are like really precise. I already checked that.
Yeah, and while I do not believe May has collected one yet, but Random does actually change how the energy parts work. In vanilla, you have to get 4 to get 1 energy tank. Ooh, nice door cancel. However, in Rando, you can make it apply the 25 energy immediately. So if you really are in dire need of more health, then you can do that. Ooh, nice Charlies.
Let's tell them about the one cycle here.
So Drog has some interesting properties where if you bump into it like that, it will delay the it'll delay
I
that
can do
counter animation.
It's harder doing it with charged shots like that.
Yeah. You can essentially a slide will allow you to delay it once, and a dash melee will allow you to delay it as many times. Like
Yeah, it
with
essentially lets you bypass the damage gate, so you don't have to like lower the water again to open it up.
yeah, to put it into perspective, it's like I don't know, like 10 super missiles or something to kill it. And then for wave beam with diffusion, it's something like 6 shots or something. It's breathtaking how strong wave beam is with all of it.
Fun
Just having
fact:
all the beams.
having supers and ice does less damage to Giga than just having supers.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
that's an interesting thing because in the normal game, there's a developer intended sequence break to get supers before Dragaiga, and normally they're after. But if you do the sequence break to get them early, as a sort of reward, they made them do extra damage to Dragaiga.
hmm
It's still damage gated, so you have to 2-cycle it. It just
Yeah.
means you spend less missiles.
Yeah, it basically puts him
I
at
don't
one
even know-
super missile of health.
I don't even know if it's enough of a difference that you need fewer missiles. I just know that it does more damage.
I believe
It's
it
like-
is less. Ooh, okay, that's
there.
huge. So
That's nice
with
now.
with all of the movement upgrades and it has, getting an item like that's pretty easy. But if you only have bombs, theoretically, you could single bomb, like infinite bomb jump across that gap, if you really wanted to.
That one's always fun in a multi-world.
Yeah, it's
Your friends get to watch you struggle for half an hour.
or longer. You know, just depends on how your bomb jumps are feeling that day. And normally this first part of Gavran would explicitly require a spider magnet. However, okay, yeah, bye robot. See you later. Normally you would
space jump.
spark it, but
Makes it a lot easier to get past without magnet.
mm-hmm.
You can also do some funky stuff, like with grapple or bombs, to get past that magnet gate, but space jump's easiest.
Oh, hello.
Oh, okay.
Wow, what a spawn!
Oh
And
my
as
god.
you can see,
No!
Alone.
As you can see, there are actually 2 blue Emmys on the screen. You can see them in the background right there.
Yeah.
Because Rando has this, the Emmys always there, but technically when you go to Quiet Robe, he does turn the Emmy off. Like, he deactivates it completely.
For story-related reasons, it's supposed to be deactivated, so that's why you see it in the background. But
I think the only other situation like that is in the room below where you trigger the cutscene, the purple Emmy will be there. So if
It
you
looks
killed
very
the boss,
funny.
you can go back in there and just go see him. And sometimes in
can go
vanilla,
hang
you can
out.
make 2 be there.
Thank you, Adam!
wow. That is incredibly unhelpful.
Hint of the century!
We love Adam
How I
in
want
this
to
house.
approach this, because without Spider Magnet,
Do you even go down yet?
I think I'm just gonna do it.
Alright, so as you can see, that's a ledge warp. So to kind of give it a little breakdown for the viewers, if you morph while Samus is mantling a ledge, you will store your position on that ledge and then morph. And then if you jump into the air and unmorph while facing the direction that you mantled, you will just warp straight back to your stored position.
Yeah, it sort of like cues up the animation, and Morph while Samus is like technically a different thing in like the game's eyes. So
Yeah, it's a different
stores
actor.
Yeah, it stores the positions like separately. So when that animation gets queued up, it like overwrites your position when you unmorph, and you just teleport back to where you were before. They're not useful in many places, but in that case, you can switch the flipper and then warp back. And normally that would have been a soft lock, but by teleporting out, you can just continue on.
Yeah, they are exceptionally useful specifically for releasing the X in Elan. You can use it to skip both the spider magnet requirement, like we just did, and for skipping back to, or skipping the plasma beam requirement in Elan if you need to.
But I am
Yeah.
actually going to be going through Elan because I want to check all the items. There are 5 items here. It's a small area, but
You're not going to show the ledge warp for the fans, unfortunate.
I don't think you
Like a
should,
set
right?
stuff.
Like,
Probably not. It is explicitly a waste of time. I just love lead warping, you know? It's really cool. But essentially in that area, you can blow up those bomb blocks and then store a ledge warp right there.
And you'll see here, I'm peeking this item. That's at the end of a very long Morphball maze, and I'm going to be trying to skip as much as possible of that. Because it's only for, like, that.
Yeah,
no way.
Ewan's definitely a notorious area for having a lot of frustrating checks. Like, I know I personally do not like to have Ewan
Yeah,
if possible.
it has 5, and you hate doing basically all of them.
Oh my god.
And because May already has Plasma Beam, they can just keep going, essentially, into the intended patching.
Yeah, this is normally where you get Plasma Beam, but I'm just going to continue onward. And we'll get to see another quote-unquote
Challenging
difficult
boss.
fight.
Hey, this one's like twice as hard.
Yeah, I would argue he's twice as hard as the average robot.
That's true.
Alright. Okay. Phase 1 done. I know that was really tough.
Phew.
Ow.
Now just hit the QTE.
Easy. Easy peasy. These animations are one of my favorite parts of Dread. They're really, really cool.
My favorite thing is that once you get all your DNA, you get to do the absorb. I love that detail. Just for the fans?
Well, I still have to check the item above, so I'm going to use a ledge warp so I can peek the item in the maze, and I don't have to go all the way back out. I can just.
Ooh,
This is quite the ledge word,
This is a baller choice.
and it's tragic if you mess it up.
Yeah, so essentially what they have to do is constantly keep their stick below, below the upper half of this. Okay.
Nice.
Because if you accidentally unmorph while you're on the ground, you lose your store. All right.
It ate my directional input in the transition.
Awesome, Spark.
And as you notice there, May actually shot their charge shot during a Shine Spark. If you're charging while before you let loose the Shine Spark, you can press R to ready missiles, and that will essentially allow you to shoot a charge shot while you're sparking, and that can allow you to go through doors that you wouldn't be able to during the actual spark animation. Just saves a little time, and it looks cool.
Well, I really hope that Hanubia Adam tells us where ice missiles are.
It would
Yeah,
be
that's
really
the next
helpful.
stop on our list.
That cutscene we just skipped is what would normally reactivate the Emmys in Gavarin and Ferenia. But for gameplay purposes, we decided to just make them always active because it was kind of boring traveling through the Emmy zones and never having the Emmys active.
Yeah, whereas if the blue Emmy is active, the Gavarin Emmy zone has hands. It's okay, great keep.
Ah,
And I cursed it.
Cursing me
keep
so
doing
much.
that.
You know, it's the monkey's paw of commentating, truly.
Oh no.
Ooh. Okay, there we go.
Still haven't got any flash shifts. Makes it moving a lot slower.
Yeah, the funny thing about Flash
Flashing
is
around
that
everywhere right now, but
despite it being one of the best items in the game, it's also the only progression item basically that doesn't unlock virtually anything.
Yeah, makes a lot of things easier, or certain things possible in early games, such as if you've seen those fans that Mayberry has been nice. That Mayberry
That's
has
a
been
reasonably precise timing to do that. Normally, you'd be expected to do it with ice missiles, but doing it like that is possible, and I believe in logic for these settings as well.
yeah. It's a pretty common strat for races.
It's not too bad, just...
oh, there's flash shift.
Oh, beautiful.
Love it.
Speaking
And
of the devil,
the devs are very nice and put this little power bomb block here, so you can just go ahead and grab that for cleanup. Makes you saves you a trip of going all the way around.
Oh, there's ice.
Oh, okay.
fantastic. Okay, so we just
Go
Let's
mode,
go
right?
mode.
go kill the blue guy.
So
That's right
May
here.
is now officially in what we would call go mode. Anyone who's played a rando is probably familiar with the term.
Mhm.
they have all of the items they need to get to Ravenmeek as well as collect the last of the DNA. And having flash shift is really useful because it can make
flash shift.
crossing certain
Thank you.
rooms faster. And sometimes if you play without it for a while, you kind of forget, or like you have it in atypical spots, you forget that you have it.
Yeah, our rehearsal run had a lot of it reminding me to use flash shift.
It's just so useful and really cool.
I just already had it in
Hopefully-
my head. It was gonna be a
Hopefully
flash
this
freeze.
kill goes better than the rehearsal run.
Yeah, in a case
no.
where the illegal major glitches are allowed, flash shift is a critical item for allowing you to go through collision.
Oh, this is gonna
Oh
be
no.
So
funny.
this Emmy fight may got the correct manipulation to get the Emmy on the ceiling. However, its faceplate is quite
That's
durable.
okay. Phew.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're
You
good.
just have to do like a
Oh.
semi-blind shot a little if you mess up. It's just such an awkward angle. It's really easy to mess up.
Yeah. Because doing it when the Emmy is just completely off screen and not visible sucks.
Yeah, it's
But
really
sometimes you have to.
It's really unfortunate because you can get a really nice camera angle from the other side, but it is significantly slower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
that
main
is-
limiting factor is like the Emmy has to get on the ceiling, and the fastest way is to get it to go on that side.
That is all 12 DNA.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it says 12 because that's like the max amount you can have, but
Mhm.
We have
Strictly
it set to only
speaking,
3.
your inventory has all 12 in it. You started with 9, but it's
it's a programming
Semantics.
limitation, essentially.
yeah, it's just an implementation detail. So I guess you just fight the guy.
Yeah, at this point we're just kind of heading back to Hanubia, or heading to Hanubia for the first time. Can you release? Okay, yeah, you release the X, so we get a bonus Bolzuna fight.
Yeah.
Which is just
That's
loads of
It-
fun.
Yeah, releasing the X does make it faster to get to Hanubia from here.
Yeah, this boss would require the X to fight, so and you have to beat this boss to take this path. So. Oh
right?
my.
So what May was trying to do there was you can actually cause Bolzuna to like spawn into you while you have a Shine Spark.
That's a
Oh,
All right,
oh
they
yeah, it
got
also
another
does a
chance to do it
million
again.
billion damage.
Yeah, even with gravity, like if you don't have enough tanks, it will just delete
Yeah,
you.
it does several tanks of damage.
Yeah. Ideally, that that attack will not be seen, but you know things happen sometimes.
They'll hit it this time.
Yeah, they got it.
I can do the safe setup this time.
Nice little ball spark, and then bam. Yeah.
Oh,
no! Commentator's curse again.
That's fine.
Am I
Hitting even
doing?
1 makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes half its health, so. But you
Yeah.
see
Is
just
it
how
exactly
much
half?
It is exactly half.
That's funny.
And what's nice is that May got the one that follows you instead of the one that. Okay, we're gonna see another Noyalag
Yeah.
named after the runner who started using it, I believe.
Yeah, I
Nice.
pressed it too early.
There we go.
And then just the 4x here, and I'm just gonna start this too, after messing up.
Yeah. That was suboptimal storms.
Oh no.
Yeah, if you have storms at this boss fight, which is possible in vanilla, you can do the same thing that May did to Esky's Core X. And then here we see the one room that crossbombs make really a lot easier. However, we're going to see May do what's dubbed as crossbomb skip. If you roll off and break 2 of the blocks and then grab the ledge and then space jump over, you can just jump through that area. There are a handful of other places you can do that, but that's probably like the most relevant
Yeah.
speedrun wise.
And rando wise, because being able to skip the crossbomb requirement for Golzuna is massive in races.
Oh yeah, it
Cro-
can save a lot of
crossbombs.
time.
Can be a little finicky too. Sometimes it'll like lay a normal bomb instead. So
Once you
some
get
people-
good at crossbomb skips, it genuinely feels easier than using
Yeah.
crossbombs.
to me, I find it easier. It's faster, and it skips the requirements anyways. But now we're in Hanubia, so it's pretty much just a little boss rush to the end.
Mhm.
In
And we're
go mode. Can kind of
pretty much fully equipped, so
Power bomb tube, spark up.
humor me and check the item.
Yeah, let's see what this is.
This is now a verified
Thank you.
rando run.
That's our validator check. See, it doesn't count unless you check that item.
Yeah.
Are we using
Occasionally that will
missiles
be a
here?
major, but not often.
Mhm. This is the only Chozone boss like this in the game that doesn't die to power bomb. It's the only one you fight when you have power bombs.
And you can use the storm missiles to kind of charge up some extra damage while the shield is up. You can't damage it while it has the shield, so that's how we get around it. And normally it doesn't attack where you can parry the shield and then break it off. But using storms, you can actually deal enough damage to just phase transition it, and then it just drops the shield.
Yeah.
You can see we have all the DNA we need based on the fact that it played that animation for the kill.
And also, the actual like transition animation where it screams at you, you can't actually damage it during that. So you can use that to either, start mashing so that when it does become damageable, you start basically deleting it, or you can charge up storm missiles and get some easy intro damage.
Yeah.
Because storms do a lot of damage. They're just
Even without
kind of loading out.
storms, you can just charge a charge shot and just try to time it well, but
Mhm.
less impactful. Now we go beat up our dad.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and for those who have played Dread, you will notice that there is an extra feature in this room. We're just gonna ignore it.
Yeah, it's an alternative to tell you where the DNA is located.
And not normally an Atom station there, but alright. Let's tell the people about Gold Skip here.
So Ravenbeak at the start has like an energy shield around him, and as you damage him with missiles, cross bombs, which cross bombs actually do a lot of damage to his shield because each individual explosion does damage. It will turn his shield slowly red, and then if you queue up storm missiles like this, you get 2 storm locks or
Oh, I
one,
only got
and
one.
then mash through.
Oh,
and that
nice.
allows you to. Oh, nice. That allows you to skip the phase where he becomes completely invincible. And then you also saw May do a little kind of like hack, for extra damage. Where during that cutscene, for whatever reason, you can flash shift, and that will unlock your shooting and allow you to get a couple pot shots on him during the phase transition.
You can see doing a dash melee here to make this attack just not connect.
Yeah.
Should
Ravenbeak is.
almost be dead, right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I've got the
almost
match
dead.
for a little while.
There we
but-
go.
Oops, I went back to my home menu. Now you guys get to see I'm a Smash player.
Ugh.
Oh, it turned off my turbo. That's a good thing to mention. We allowed turbo controllers in this game. Because the fire rate is actually uncapped. We didn't really get to see much of it this run. But just
It's-
for health-related reasons.
Technically capped in the funniest way possible.
Yeah, by the limits of the frame.
Yeah. No, it's capped higher than the limits of the frame rate. It's capped at 60 hertz.
That's
I
hilarious.
didn't actually know that.
It's
hard to find with that.
extremely funny.
I love that. And you may notice that like missiles get a slightly higher fire rate during the cutscene. Does a little less damage because you're in a parry cutscene, which is just universally true for all bosses, unfortunately.
It's not true for this one.
Is it not?
That's actually why you do it on Ravenbeak. It's like the only one where you don't get a damage penalty for
It's
taking the
but-
damage.
usually true.
Every other one, it's an explicit damage decrease, which is truly
Also-
unfortunate.
Also, there is a damage penalty in phase 1, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's specifically missiles, but not to beams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so you can't one phase them for free. If you have just supers and there's no modifications for Ravenbeak, which RDV does make some modifications, you can get a couple different loadouts to the end.
Here I'm going to be waiting to shoot because you only need to deal so much damage to this, and as you're shooting him, he walks slower. So if you shoot longer than need to, you're just wasting time. Overkilling him doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, it's just
And
like
now
a
we're-
small damage check.
And the escape sequence, so
Yeah, you'll notice that the entire top half of the tracker has been taken away it really does take away others' items, and it's a beautiful coincidence that it corresponds to exactly the top half of the tracker.
Yeah, I figured that was maybe intentional, but
Nope,
it's
not
really
at
cool.
all.
That makes it about 10 times better.
It's just awesome.
I think now I'm going through some rooms that normally you would have went through. But just back in Nubia, we would have went through these rooms earlier to fight the last Emmy, but it wasn't required, so I didn't do any of that. And that also means I have to drop extra power bombs to open
Yeah,
paths that went before.
the rando escape is often a little bit different from vanilla for that reason.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
right at the end.
That was so close.
Some more cool shine spark.
Let's go.
I
This
love
is
a good
slower.
full shine
This
spark.
is objectively suboptimal,
that
and I will do
cutscene
it
is,
every time.
There is actually one practical application to that specific cool shine spark.
Oh,
Really?
If you
time
do,
coming up here in a second.
Yeah, let's-
unrestricted if you've not.
Let's
got
hold
it.
off.
And time.
GG.
Nice.
That was a
Great run.
great seat.
Nice.
You wouldn't want to drain the ship with this energy.
Hey,
I
who's
know
that
that
on the
guy.
credits?
Whoa.
Hey, Dunk, there's you.
That's Dark0, who's in chat right now.
I don't know who else could be in this credits.
No,
Hey, I
wait
know
a
that
minute.
person.
Wait, I know those people. That's so cool.
Do we have a final time on that? I didn't have a time wrap.
Looks like your final time is 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 23 seconds.
That is a quick
Wow. That's very fast.
Yeah. Definitely,
seat. Oh yeah. I want
Very
to see where
smooth.
Spider Magnet was.
Oh
I think he's the
yeah.
only one we didn't see.
Yeah.
yeah, because luckily you stumbled into Flash Shift on the way out.
hmm
But overall, super, super clean run following logic and very
Execution
nice.
was hot too.
Thank you. Dyron teleport to our Oh, it was in the first room of Dyron. That I
That's
just
funny.
never went to. You were definitely meant to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
That was a
my
great
random
scene.
run. If you wanna play this, you can go to randomania.org.
That's Randomania with a V, not to
Yeah.
be confused with Randomania with an M.
Similar name, pure coincidence.
Yeah, the confusion is understandable.
But we love both, so
Yeah. It's been a great event so far.
Yeah.
Pleased to have had the opportunity to help May show off the rando I work on.
Yeah, and any opportunity to showcase Dread is truly awesome.
and thanks for having us.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, GG's to Mayberry with that amazing and crazy fast Metroid Dread run. I know I was watching carefully. I've never played through this vanilla. I've started it and just been like, yeah, these Emmys, not my thing. But all right. Coming up here shortly, we will have a 3 randomizer shuffle, and with the GGs for Mayberry, we went ahead and closed the incentives. So I will be back momentarily with the results of that. Until then, please sit back, relax, stay hydrated, get comfy. We still have more marathoning ahead.